Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Yafcast series. I am Ake Brittany and I will be hosting today, assisted by my co-host Mary and my colleague Praise Paul. Today we are going to be exploring the critical role of media and communication in advancing climate adaptation in Africa. Climate change is one of the most pressing issues of our time, and effective communication is key to raising awareness, building support, and driving action. Joining us on this platform is a very vibrant and strong lady, Minette Mponwe. She is an expert in climate communication and media. She is not only that, she is a journalist, she is a youth reporter, a humanitarian diplomat, and above all, she was honored to be a participant in the very first United Nations Civil Society Conference in Africa, which took place in Nairobi, Kenya, 2024. Welcome, Minette, and thank you very much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you so much for the invitation, and I'm glad to be part of this podcast.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, thank you, and you?
Very, very great. I'm okay. I'm fine.
Are you not going to ask me how I'm feeling?
I'm very sorry. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I feel happy. I'm glad to see Minette here on our platform, and I'm excited to have the discussions with her.
Yes.
Thank
Praise,
you
how
so
you
much.
feeling?
Feeling awesome, and it's very beautiful to have Minette with us and let us all dive in to see what we have.
Okay, so let's get started with the basics. So, Minette, how do you think media and communication can support climate adaptation efforts in Africa? And what are some challenges that we face in this area?
Thank you so much for that wonderful question. I think media and communication in general is indispensable in spotlighting or educating the public on climate action. But I also feel like media and communication is not really prioritized in most media houses and corporate organizations, not really because they don't want to, but just because they lack experience, they lack skills in order to leverage on to effectively communicate climate actions. But in 2019, there was around 28% that maybe there were statistics that showed that 28% of media houses were actually communicating on climate issues.
Wow.
And I feel like that was really great to an extent because, most people have this stereotype that climate is really scientific. So most of the times people are not really interested in it. And you go to most media houses, you see we have political decks, economic decks, we have different decks, but it is very difficult to see climate decks. Like in Cameroon, even CRTV, that is like the public media that is actually supposed to be championing the fight for climate action, is not actually having a climate deck. So I feel like there are a lot of challenges. Like for example, most journalists don't know how to report climate issues because climate is very scientific. There are some climate jargons that needs an expert to effectively communicate them. And you cannot as well expect scientists to communicate these climate issues because of their choice of words in terms of, And most of the times when you ask journalists to communicate these climate issues, it leads to misinformation because they lack the data, they lack the science, they lack the experience. And there's another challenge. Another challenge is lack of evidence-based data and locally led actions. For example, most media houses focus on global narratives to disseminate climate issues, which to me it is not really good because it does not reflect our reality. I'm very disappointed most of the times when people leverage international media or international NGO data or findings to communicate climate actions. It has nothing to do with Cameroon. For example, our climate impact in Cameroon is completely different from that of maybe, let's say, Kenya, for example. So I feel like most of the times it is always very important for media houses to maybe, to an extent, partner with climate institutions in order to get raw evidence-based or locally based or our experiences, our realities to communicate these climate actions. And there's another challenge. Another challenge is like lack of finance. Yeah. You know, in order to effectively communicate climate action or climate issues, you need finance, you need money, because you cannot just go and be writing stories on newspapers. Not everybody can read, especially the local community.
They even say if you want to hide something from a black
man, put it on the
paper.
newspaper. But you see, when you like produce these reels, these videos on Facebook, Instagram, and the rest, you see that the level of engagement is always very high, and most people can easily understand what you're trying to communicate. But sometimes when you also disseminate some of these news articles or maybe climate issues on graphics with strong jargons or strong words, most people cannot as well understand. Climate has a lot of strong jargons that you need to really get into it, or maybe partner with institutions in order to understand. And you know, the role of the media or journalists is actually to communicate complex issues in a simplified manner. They know how to do it. So they really need maybe the resources, they also need these experts to partner with them, and they also need to work with media houses that are open and willing to actually adopt or champion climate action.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned climate. Do you say climate desk or climate deck?
Climate decks.
Desk.
Decks.
Is that like a bank of terms, climate change terms?
No,
Or what is that?
it's actually a journalism or a media term.
Okay.
For example, we have political decks. Yeah, we have social decks, we have economic, and then climate. Because there are some media houses that actually have like economic and environmental decks, but it is too broad. So most of the times you see they focus on just disseminating news stories around waste management, and even when they're disseminating these waste management issues, they focus more on the effects of poor waste management. And we all know that there's no impact or there's no effect without a cause.
Of course.
So I feel like most of the times what they have to do is like dig deep, like first of all disseminate or maybe tell people the causes of these issues before maybe just spotlighting the effects, in order to tell people that this is what is causing this effect, and if we don't respect some of these things, we are going to face this in future.
Okay, let's take it that you're a journalist, right? You're based in Yaoundé. You've been around Yaoundé. You've seen the heap of dirt being poured around everywhere. How Izakam is lazy to carry out the activities. Let's say you're a journalist. How do you report the impact of this poor waste management in Yaoundé?
Yeah, as a journalist, first of all, if I want to maybe report on waste management or poor waste management, I'll first of all try to know who is in charge of waste management. Like in other countries like Ghana, Kenya, and the rest, the local authorities, that's the council, is in charge of waste management. In Cameroon, on the other hand, it is not the responsibility of the local authorities. It is actually handled by Izakam, which is actually...
That's an NGO of somebody's...
Yeah, exactly. So, and Izakam is actually a profit-making agency. So if the government maybe to an extent is quite prioritizing other stuffs like the ongoing crisis, and they fail to comply to their contract with Izakam is definitely going to ignore some of the wastes.
Well, makes sense now.
Yeah, and aside of that, even within Izakam, most of the times they pay their workers based on the numbers of times you like transport the wastes and the volume. So most of the times, what some of these drivers do, they just go to somewhere around their houses and carry anything, even just soil, fill the van and just go and pour it in order to earn their money. So they won't want to go right far to maybe Bonas to clean, maybe to carry the waste there. Meanwhile, they can just take something around them, go and throw, and then sign out for the day. So I feel like the management process is first of all the problem. So as a journalist, I'll start from knowing who is supposed to, or maybe who is responsible for waste management. Then I will now go, maybe step up to like communicate about sorting. We know most people are not versed with the word sorting. Sorting is like when you are like separating the waste from organic to plastic waste and the rest. And I also feel like most of the times when people are communicating waste, they don't bring out the financial aspect of it. They don't bring out the beneficial aspect of it. For example, if I know that separating my waste, that I can use the organic waste to compost and create this manure and sell, I'm going to be very intentional about sorting my waste. I won't just carry everything and take and dump, you understand? So I also feel like the media needs to focus more on educating the public and not just informing the public about the impacts of climate change.
Educating the public too is also very hard.
It is.
Let me take, for example, you see these mummies that sell in the market. I didn't want to go far. Let me take Masha Acacia. You see Masha Acacia. You see those mummies selling that market.
Yeah.
There used to be a trash can in front of the council there, that area. If you went there and told those mummies that you people pick jamajama.
Yeah.
This the stems from this jamajama, if you take it and decompose it, they are going to put it in your jamajama farm and have more. What's random outputs?
Yeah.
This one not listen to you. Hey, don't tell me who are you? What do you be? Wait. You understand that type of mentality?
Yeah.
These people don't even want to hear anything. They don't even want to hear anything. So
it comes down to those who are in charge of waste management. Because those who are in charge of waste management, if they tell these people that when I'm coming to this neighborhood, my goal is maybe Mondays I'm coming to collect organic waste. White Tuesdays I'm going to collect plastic waste.
It's because of the communication, right?
Yeah.
Voila.
So it is the communication strategy that can actually solve this problem. It is not even about maybe the community, the local community, or those mummies, because they are not aware. And we all know we live in an Android generation. Most of them are not techies. They are not even online. So most of the times, if you even see them online, they watch those videos on Facebook. And there's this tendency of people just creating any type of content on Facebook in order to get views, likes, and especially if their pages are monetized.
So it brings now, that means the point on, because I think when that issue of Isakam abandoning all their waste and everything, social media, I mentioned that social media is actually one of the corridors that is actually pushing up on projecting what is the impact of climate change. And I think during that moment we saw some artists and some people going and taking pictures before they started picking up
these content creators.
The content creators.
Because
there's a little survey that actually went up, and it's like social media itself in Africa globally on with Jubal, they are indicating about 72% of the impact that they are now getting on like those on the climate space is coming from the social media contents that people are putting up. So in other words, now is there a specific format that those, because some people just want to take the pictures like to provoke, is there a format that in the media space people are working on to bring up where people will now know that it's based on this that we can engage ourselves to have a narrative that flows perfectly for the public to get that know that this is climate friendly and climate
not friendly. Yeah, there is a way to do that. I think the best way to do that is for media houses or personals or journalists to partner with climate institutions. You understand? And that way, climate institutions can now be able to even hold some of those waste managers accountable. Because if you partner with climate institutions, they are going to like teach journalists some of these concepts, and the journalists now will take the data and make it maybe public friendly, make it very easy to consume or understand. For example, like what you said, that the social media is really playing a great role in waste management or environmental friendly activities. I feel like most of those people that took those pictures, they were just content creators. And trust me, the goal was not to see change. The goal was just because they know that people are easily drawn to bad news. People are drawn to news like issues like that. So everybody just wanted to trend. They just wanted to get the views and the likes and the rest. But if professional journalists, because now we have a lot of amateurs, everybody with an Android phone is a journalist. So it is always very difficult for you to solve that problem of people taking intentional actions or people disseminating content that can go a long way to bring change. But if professional journalists or media houses partner with climate institutions, they are going to be very intentional about the type of content they take. Like they will not just take those pictures and write that this is how Yaoundé is looking like or something like that. There will be like lack of the respect of maybe contracts from both the government and Isakam. Waste management has become a problem in Yaoundé.
Yeah.
And in order to save this problem, maybe the government should prioritize waste management because it is affecting our health and the rest. So you see most of those content creators, most of the times they don't even talk about the impacts of the waste. They just talk about it making Yaoundé look nasty and stuff like that. But we all know that it causes health issues, it causes mosquitoes, a lot. It makes even like the air pollution and the rest. So I just feel like in order to solve this issue, climate institutions should prioritize communication.
Yes.
Like I've worked in organizations where communications experts are paid very low because people feel like there's nothing there. But trust me, they minimize communication experts, which to me, they should be like the most important people or the most important pillars in an organization. Yeah, because they are the brand, they sell the brand.
Now, when we talk about content creating regarding this space, now let's bring in storytelling.
Yeah.
And how can storytelling and digital advocacy mobilize finance for local adaptation?
Yeah. We all know in order to attract philanthropy or finance, you need to be very intentional about the stories you put online.
Yes.
Because most funders are drawn to empathetic stories. They are drawn to original stories. They are drawn to listening to indigenous people and getting their perspective. Because in those days we actually had like traditional ways of managing climate issues, but nobody knew about it. And now everything has been so modernized that we keep on using big words that people in the cartel in the village cannot even understand. Especially like climate finance, it's something that it is actually very complicated but very indispensable. If you're very, very strategic in your digital campaigns, like being intentional about what you disseminate, trying to talk to local communities or the indigenous people in the language they understand, getting their knowledge, bringing them into all the project steps or processes. For example, don't just bring them when you want to execute the project. Bring them in from from the beginning. Get their knowledge. Try to know what they want. This is not like a crisis, like a political crisis. We all know that climate is a little bit different. So what people for example, in the West region need for their climate issues is not the same thing those who are in the Southwest might need. For example, we had this landslides in Mchang, and we had it in Boya as well. For Boya, we all know that, even in Bankolo, for Boya, we all know that Boya is quite hilly and the rest. So if you want to disseminate, or if you want to create content around Boya, you should focus more on the historical background, on the topography. So you need a geographer, someone that will bring out those aspects to make funders understand. But if you want to talk about Nchang, we know Nchang is not too hilly and stuff like that. But they are really into agricultural stuffs. So you now focus on talking with farmers, bringing in their stories, the challenges they are facing due to all those landslides and the rest. So it's just like, in order to attract philanthropy or climate finance, you need to be very intentional about bringing empathetic stories, bringing people to tell their own stories, sharing those stories in different languages, making it very original. Because sometimes I don't like how people communicate some of these climate issues. The fact that you go to the field and just take pictures and videos, then you come and
exactly. That's what
right.
I'm about to start saying.
What's that?
That one about people that just go and how are you going to know?
You won't.
And one thing is for sure. One thing is for sure is the fact that now, if no matter how much we know about climate change and its effects, right, it's never going to be the same as those who are actually living
the reality.
Yes, the reality.
They won't.
Never going to be the same.
There was a time I went to one farm and I saw that water, rain fell and it deviated the water from a waterfall and it washed away and there was no one to communicate. So that farmer just stopped that.
Can you imagine?
Things like that at least with the point that you're raising, it was a way that we have to present the explanation of what happened, maybe the finance to back up that farmer or something that
Exactly. And I also feel like another maybe another thing that digital campaigns can maybe attract finance. It can also attract it can also maybe pressure policymakers and the government to take action. Because most of the time, some of these government officials, they don't care about what is happening on the field because they will never go there.
Never.
But you see these social media campaigns, sometimes if you're very intentional and just create maybe, you use even Canva, you just create a campaign with like a template, ask people to add their pictures and say, I stand for climate justice and stuff like that. It will go a long way to
That
really
makes sense.
attract
Yes, it does.
finance. And also, I'm currently researching on, like my PhD research is on trying to do a critical analysis between crisis versus justice narratives. You see, I want to know which of them is really effective when it comes to climate action. For example, so I think that in Africa, what moves us more or what makes us to take action is when you talk about justice.
Yes.
Because we contribute little or nothing to the climate crisis, but we are the ones facing the impact more. But in the Western world, they are actually the ones causing most of the climate issues, and they are still, maybe some of them don't even fund some of these climate actions through grants. They do it through loans, and we end up owing them a lot of billions.
So much money
Even
that
our
we
generations to come would
don't
be
know
able
to
to
pay.
pay. And the concept of carbon credit is also another thing. I just feel like it is, to me, I think it is not realistic. It is actually a scam.
Yes,
And
it's
like,
a
even
scam.
when we tell people, even when we go to this big conference and tell people,
Yeah.
they're like, you overreacting. You're saying too much. Come on.
They can't
You know what we're
relate.
going through.
In COP28 in Dubai, I met a lady from the Netherlands, and she told me that she does not even know what climate change is. Like she has not witnessed any climate impact.
And
She
She said she just wanted to come and sympathize with those who are feeling the impact.
Wow.
Honestly. And she was a journalist. She was like, she has never witnessed any floods. She has not witnessed anything like electricity issue, nothing. So even this just transition to her, it is quite new. And I was like, you see, so why are they now bringing in this carbon credit concept? To me, I just feel like it is not fair, and it's actually still just going to continue with continue putting pressure on the marginalized community and making us just, I don't know how to put it, but then it's actually a scam.
And you know, still at that COP28, right?
Yeah.
I met a lady because I was holding the placards,
Yeah.
carbon credit, carbon markets, false promises. I was one of those holding the placards. So a lady cornered me and she was trying to explain to me about this carbon credits.
Yeah.
I just told her, Madam, I have a very good understanding of carbon markets.
Good.
I'm sorry, but I studied this thing in school, so I have a good understanding of it.
Yeah.
I work for someone who masters this thing to his core. So when I'm saying, I'm not just saying it because I read it from the internet. I'm saying something that I have studied, so I know what it is I'm talking about. Carbon markets are false promises.
They are.
But see, these are people coming to COP. They're
And
not supposed to give us money. They come
it.
and telling us that no, that's not supposed to be. People are getting the narrative wrong. I said, no, ma, we're not getting it wrong.
So I
And
think
people are trying to manipulate us into
Yes.
doing things your way, but we're not falling for fake promises
We
anymore.
can't.
in the end, I think now the mediatic world need to now, like those from the
Global South.
Global South, this are on side. I think we have to now sit and actually see how, like, at the end of the day, present that Article 9 of the Paris Agreement in a way that is going to really,
Yeah, and we
bring a
also,
bell to,
What
because
we
Which other we are presented over and over and over.
we have to
I feel like
we have
the
to
media
review the
can go a long way to solve this
yeah,
issue.
that's actually the
Yeah, so the
right?
media has to be very intentional about framing their
about
communication.
framing that-
The strategy should be very, very intentional, and it should just focus on climate justice.
Yeah, it should be
The climate justice
consistent.
frame,
Yes.
because I don't think it is just a crisis. We need to bring in the concept of justice, equity, fairness, like just making sure the interests of the marginalized are actually
Yes,
also met
exactly.
and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I feel like the media can really go a long way to solve this issue, but how can they do it without the knowledge on how to report climate issues? How can they understand some of these concepts, especially the climate finance concept of carbon credit, NDCs, even INC, the waste management INC stuff. In Cameroon, like a few years ago, they signed an agreement to stop the use of plastic. But it was not, yes, but it was not well communicated. Do you know why people kept on using plastic? Because of the communication strategy that was used.
Thank you for bringing up this topic. Thank you. I'm very interested in plastic waste management.
Likewise.
Aside the fact that they will try to ban plastic waste management, they didn't provide a solution.
They didn't.
You cannot ban something and they don't provide a solution. You cannot tell me I should not use this bottle and they don't give me an alternative. What am I supposed to do? I have to drink water every day, but then you're telling me not to use this bottle anymore. So what is the alternative? What can I use? They didn't present that.
No, they presented something like biodegradable. Something that plastic, and it lasted just for a few months, and after people went back to
it was still the same as the same plastic that we used, but they just framed us understand that this one is biodegradable.
Yes.
But you've traveled and you've gone to Kenya, you see what they use in Kenya. When you buy something, they put in brown paper bags. Yes.
And some of those reusable bags.
Exactly. That even when you throw it on the road and it rains, the rain mashes the thing such a way that it becomes like manure. Right there and then.
True.
It doesn't even waste time.
I saw a video in Japan, or was this whether the bottles they use when once you finish, you just wash it. There are spots where you wash and then just reuse it, like instead of just going with plastics, and our gutters are all.
And even their trash cans are quite separated. So there's a spot, like there's a can for plastic waste, organic waste, and non-organic waste, and glasses breakable and stuff like that. So I feel like there's a lot.
So that's the road. That's
the road in Kenya.
And when the media people see this, and as you said, right, we actually need to go a long way to train journalists on how to communicate these issues, because they actually do see it. They know that it is a problem, but they don't know how to communicate the problem. Exactly.
Perfect.
You understand? So I want to commend Axia very much for the work they are doing in trying to train journalists on climate change reporting. They've gone a long way, and we've been seeing the impact that these journalists have been making and how they have been able to reframe their reporting strategies in order to pass the message in the way that even a layman is going to be able to assimilate the message the way it is supposed to be.
I think more of like other climate institutions should just emulate from ASEA and do the same, because we really need a collaborative approach in order to like solve this issue. I know we might not solve it now, but there's always a start. We just have to start. We just have to be intentional. And I also want to appreciate you guys for this platform, because I think if you bring in more people, more young people to like just share their ideas and let their voices be heard. Because I feel like my own network, my friends, my circle, they'll be very interested to listen to this. So imagine if you have like 50 guests per year, you will be sure that you are actually educating like 100 million people, maybe 1 million and more. Because we are going to actually get the views and everything, because most young people are really eager and they really want to learn. Some of them just need mentorship, they just need the space, they just need the platforms and the rest. They need courage as well. And I'll always tell people that be very intentional. Don't think that you have to be perfect. Nobody is perfect, but just be available, just be consistent. And just try to be the change you want.
And this is strategies I've noticed about communication, right? It's about using the right hashtags and the right mentions. Because sometimes they even do the right reporting, but they use the right hashtags, and the message still gets missing. Exactly. So if you're able to frame your hashtags and able to tag the right people, that's how you're going to know that your message is going to be passed along. That's something to take in consideration.
True. I was working for an organization in Ghana, and I used to tag like the UNSCCC, and my colleagues would be like, "You're so courageous." I was like, "Why? If we don't tag them, they're not going to be aware of what we are doing." It is very okay to tag anybody, considering the fact that you're trying to educate the public, especially if you are doing something that is very ethical. Tag them, tag even the president, tag anybody, the UN General Assembly, tag those guys. Use hashtags that are in line with what you're doing. Sometimes your hashtag can actually help your post to go viral. Most of the times, I rarely post, but when I post, even on my personal page, especially if it is an international event, I will not have less than 200 likes because of the hashtag. Especially when the event is ongoing. Post something, just say something, do something.
Update.
Like I intend to attend like the Nairobi Summer School on Climate Justice, and my goal is to give like a daily review updates. Like, so that those who cannot even, or those who don't have the opportunity to attend, should actually just get something from about. Should feel like they're there. So if you're maybe in a position where you can share knowledge, just share. Just be the change you want, because people really want to get involved, but they don't know how to go about it. So sometimes use your platform well. Don't use your platform to post stuff like I'm hungry, I'm bored, who is taking me out, and stuff like Pamela one way, knife case. Like, don't follow trends that won't add value to your life. Be very intentional with your digital footprint. I had a friend that lost a job because of what she posted online. So better use your online for something very ethical.
Yes.
You can make an intentional effort that you're going to be doing a post once a week on climate issues. Even if you don't have the knowledge, now we have AI. Put your raw knowledge into it and then ask it to edit it for you. But don't just ask AI to write something. Trust me, that's laziness, and you'll be blank upstairs forever.
Yes.
Like, just try to challenge yourself, write something, do something, edit, post. You don't know who is watching, you don't know who is seeing. Use hashtags. You might go viral and you'll get an opportunity. Most of my international jobs, I got them online just because of a post. Like, I defended my master's, and 3 months later, I got an international job via Facebook.
Wow.
Facebook of all places. Yeah. So I always tell people that your digital footprint should actually reflect where you want to be or where you're going to. It shouldn't just be for fun. You can post for fun once in a while, but even that fun, make sure the caption tells a story. Make sure the caption makes sense. Like, trust me, a lot of people are misusing it. It does. Sometimes people will just be like, I saw your profile and it was so rich and stuff like that. You have to be very intentional, young people. Packaging, package. You don't need money to package. You just have to be intentional. Let's help the media. Let's help climate institutions to disseminate all these stuff, because we have the reach, we have the engagement, we have the platforms, we are techies, we are very tech friendly, more than people in the villages and stuff like that. Even if you travel to the village, take videos, pictures of our topography and the race, and then post things like that can actually bring a lot of opportunities.
That brings my next question. Do you with the that? I was like, no, let her not talk about it. Let her just wait. Let me ask this question.
Okay.
Now I want to ask, on which particular platform, are there particular platforms on which this storytelling, or we can send all this information, or is it just on every platform? Because I know Facebook and LinkedIn is good, but are there other?
Okay, to me, I'll be like, it depends on the type of content you want to post.
Climate change content.
Climate change, even climate change content, there are different types of content. We have videos, we have infographics, we have articles, we have reels and stuff like that. So if you have like beautiful reels, videos, I'll advise you go more for Facebook and TikTok. But if you have like more serious thoughts, professional pictures, conferences, outcomes of conferences, go to LinkedIn. And if you have like short, maybe if you want to be given like live updates about an event or something, use Twitter, X. For my what?
You're Substack.
No, I'm not.
Okay, Substack is also another social media platform. It's mostly for climate change communication.
Okay.
I've just noticed that many people don't know about it. I got to know about Substack through one of the online events that one of the courses that I took online, and our communication platform was Substack. It's like I should say like Facebook. Yeah, you post content, people interact with the content. Yes, you also get information about the other people's posts, you interact with the posts, you can share stuff like that. Yeah, Substack.
All right, thank you. I think I'm going to research and just join.
Then to share this with you, there was a course I took on personal branding.
Yes.
With a pro in the field of personal branding, and this was what he told me about communication. I took a picture. One of the conferences I went to, I think was the time we launched the Yaf Africa Initiative.
2 years ago.
Yes. I took a picture, and he told me to use this picture on all my platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X. I should use this picture on all my platforms. It has a way it communicates to people about me.
Yes.
Sometimes people not even, I shouldn't have a picture, a direct picture on Instagram and a one on Facebook.
Yes.
There's a way it passes across a message to people.
True.
And definitely you want people to know you're a serious somebody.
Yes.
So you don't go on Instagram and post a picture of you with your hand like this.
Yes.
You go on
Or
Facebook,
LinkedIn,
it's
there's
like
something,
this.
yeah.
And then using your name on your social media platforms.
It's very essential.
Which one is like Barbie that pretty?
Exactly. You know, that brings me to what, like, I've met people who are always like, are you okay? Because most of my friends have funny names on social media. But me, you see Minette Mponwe on all my platforms. You see the same headshot on all my platforms. You see the same hashtag. So instead of putting God's favorite baby or what, I always put diplomatic journalist.
I'm telling you.
And they'll be like, what's that? And that's what I do. And recently when I started my PhD, I always put becoming a doctor, diplomatic journalist, climate expert, development expert. So branding is very, very necessary. And use the same picture, the same content, the same, like be very, very intentional about their identity.
Yes.
They call it brand
sometimes
identity.
people apply for things and they get rejected.
Yeah,
I don't
because
understand
of
why.
Yeah.
These people have gone to your social media platform, they have checked it and understand.
You don't look reasonable.
You don't want to Barbie like hot.
They don't want to,
You don't want to process like crocodile.
Exactly. They don't want a slave queen.
Exactly. And then people have a tendency of reposting everything they see on social media.
Yes.
Better things will come and post that has nothing to do
with you.
What you're doing, you want to post it. Mama will come and post and post about this and this and this and this. You come and post it, you like, you comment, you share.
Yeah.
I'm like, baby girl, do you even know what you're doing? We're not saying you should interact with the post. You can read through the post, right?
Yes. And just pass.
Read and pass. That doesn't concern me.
Like, I've blocked most of those blogs because they are so unprofessional. I'm very intentional about what I consume, the content I consume, and especially LinkedIn. You know, if you like anything, it will remain on your profile. If you reshare, it will be there. But when you keep resharing those stuff on Facebook and you think, this is Facebook, trust me, you're fooling yourself.
The moment you go on Facebook, it shows.
Yeah, what I do every month is that I research myself on Google. So if I see any funny thing I once liked something, I go and unlike it. I delete it. You have to be very intentional because your digital footprint will haunt you everywhere until you leave this world, because the world the digitalization process is still ongoing. So we'll even get to a point where maybe if you just view something, everybody will know you viewed it.
I'm telling you.
Like what TikTok does. I don't actually like that app.
Yeah. Why are you telling somebody that I view their profile? Why are you not like nobody asks you?
So the best thing is just block them. Even if you have friends that are not like focused, block. Life is too short.
Mute them.
Yeah.
Life is really too short.
It's too short. You should live a purposeful life. You should be very purpose driven, very intentional about what you do. Because nobody is perfect, but then just try to be good. Focus on the good. Be an exemplary person. Be someone that your kids will be proud of tomorrow. We are young people and will not remain young forever. Focus on personal development, because you see the advantages we are gaining now. In 5-4 years, most of us will be out of the youth space. But most people are always like in their 40s and they are still in the youth space because they did not prepare for their retirement. They were not very intentional about their career process. So most of the times when they have those free conferences to attend, those workshops, they just feel like, okay, that is life. No, trust me. And for now, forget about money, just focus on personal development, getting the skills, getting the experiences. Even if they are not paying you and you have that platform, just go in there. I volunteered for more than 5 years. CRTV 2 years without transportation, without salary.
On the road,
But today, sometimes you ask a young person to join an online training or conference, and I'll be like, I don't have data. Are they going to
how much are they giving us?
I don't understand. Sometimes I'm like, what is this? So let's try to make the world a better place by being the change we want to see.
So how can we ensure that communication is inclusive, is accessible, and is actionable for diverse audiences? Because now we're not going to only be talking about the youth, but we're going to be talking about everyone, because we are all affected. Nobody's left out.
We're all talking about social inclusion, but most of the times the communication strategies or maybe the or the news is not always inclusive,
Yes.
especially for persons living with disabilities or people in the like the indigenous people who can't understand English or French. We know our official languages in Cameroon is English and French, but not everybody understands those two languages. They're actually foreign languages. So you won't blame someone for not understanding those languages. So what I would tell maybe corporate organizations or media houses is that just try to make your news inclusive
Yes.
by looking for translators, using transcription or subtitles. There are also people that have hearing impairment, but they can read. So use subtitles on all your videos. Use audios as well for radio. Use local languages. That's why we have like CRTV regions, like different regions have their own CRTV station. Yeah, like even here in Yaoundé, we have CRTV center where they have this. Is it 5:30 or 5 p.m. news in the local language in Etone? In the Northwest, we also have news in different languages and programs in different languages. So most of those programs shouldn't just focus on politics and economy. Try to bring in people who understand some of these local languages to translate those news stories and make it very inclusive. Also, advise like youth advocates to try to also go down to the suburbs, like go to the local communities, communicate with these people, get their own local knowledge and experiences. Try to talk with them in languages that they understand more, because change will only come when everybody is on board.
Yes.
Change will only come when everybody understands the science, the strategies and everything that has to do with climate change. Because you cannot actually communicate what you don't understand, and you cannot be fully involved or engage in any action if you don't fully understand what they are saying. Most people think that climate change is propaganda just because it is science, and because some of the words that people use to communicate it is always not really friendly. So we have to be very intentional, and we also need to collaborate with both climate institutions, journalists, media persons, even those bloggers, like content creators should be very intentional about not just disseminating bad news or scandals, but they should also be instruments for change by communicating climate issues, spotlighting some of the locally led solutions, because when you spotlight some of these solutions, you'll go a long way to attract philanthropists or finance. Yeah.
And I think that I don't know if it is Google. Is good. Is I don't know if Meta is collaborating with Google or Google collaborating with Meta. But whenever an email comes in, right, there's always an option for translation.
Yes.
Even when you post something on Facebook.
There's always a translation.
I think that's very innovative and interesting.
It is. And now even with the AI, we now have AI in our WhatsApp.
Yes.
Sometimes we write this our local pidgin that we speak.
Yeah.
AI will respond to it.
Yeah.
The other day I was
Pidgin.
yes, in pidgin. The other day I was like, hi AI, a big boy, ma do how? Say massa, just sleep now or find some person talk to. Honestly, like everything, life has become so simple, but we have to know some of the ethics of AI in order not to misuse it.
Yes.
And we also have to be very intentional about using it. Yeah, you need it, but you have to know the ethics. No, like I always tell people, use your local, like your raw knowledge, and just use it to edit.
Yes.
Because when you use it to create content, it's very conventional.
Yes.
You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
There will be no originality. And most organizations now, when you're applying for a job, they'll be like, we don't need AI
Yes.
knowledge.
Yeah, that's what they
Yeah, they
that's
disqualify
what
most
they-
applications, and most people, because most people are
I know they can
misusing it.
detect.
Yes, they
They
do.
can easily detect
They
if
do.
you use it or not.
Even if you do it on your own, you just
You
know
will know
that.
Yeah,
that it's not
this
somebody's
AI.
normal.
The different transitions,
Yes,
the wordings,
exactly.
and stuff like that.
No.
It's very
This person
conventional.
cannot think like this.
Yeah, it's AI.
When you
So,
communicate, but you know them now. Yes, just
Yes, you know what they can be thinking.
I said,
True.
you cannot draft this.
Adding a little bit to the vulnerable community
Yeah.
and the communication around climate.
Yeah.
Since most of the time versed with agriculture, this year
Yeah.
I tried something on a small scale, like meeting with the how's it called?
Local farmers.
Yeah, no, town crier.
uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is the person that is in charge. Is like
Yeah.
Communication.
Yeah, so there's this national observatory for the climate change from here, that calendar.
Yeah.
So I linked it. I told him like he should get a few people, and then just present that to them to see, like, let them follow what UNAC is proposing. So I think at the end of the harvest season this year, I might go again and see the results. And if it's good, why not have these town criers in almost all these
villages
to be the ones, like,
communicating with the
people in the language.
In the language
Yeah,
that
the
they
best
understand.
understand actually. You see. So when once such initiatives are taken also.
That's a very, very good initiative.
Yeah, but you see, most of these capacity building workshops, you won't even see those town criers. They keep bringing these big journalists. And most of these journalists will not even report the events if you don't pay them. Yes, or the writing is still those big terms that
Sometimes
everybody
like
will
just
understand.
fulfill all righteousness.
Exactly.
We have done something.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, there's no change.
There's no
What's the
change.
need?
That's it.
Because as he was saying, right,
Yeah.
we'll not produce a calendar, an agricultural calendar every year. Then they say, okay, the rainy season started from this period to this period. And within this 1 week, it's going to rain in Bamayo. The next few days, it's going to rain in Bankolo. The next one. So people don't know about, many people don't know about it. Well, I supposed to know about this thing about 2 years ago. But that's what that does. And they send out this information out there to people. But then the people actually need the information. They are not aware that there's information like that. And even when you pass the information to the people that need it or those that can transmit it, they go and transmit it in a language that these people don't understand.
Yes.
You go and tell them that my papa, it is so rain will fall between tomorrow and next week. You just tell them so, but they don't understand what you mean by that.
Yeah.
It has been raining for some time now, so they just think to themselves that okay,
It's normal.
It's normal. But you tell them that okay, no, it is doing like this for this particular reason. For some time now, it has not rained in Yaoundé. At least close to one farm. It has not rained in Yaoundé, very cold.
Yeah.
Nobody knows why.
Yeah.
But those of us who have the access to the ONAC information, we know that they are predicting that this was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But those are living in the villages of Yaoundé.
They are not.
They are not. Yeah. And maybe their crops are actually
Yes,
getting bad.
Imagine why we had a town crier who could pass this mission along to these people in their local languages.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
If we're not get in contact with town criers of different localities and say, okay, I want you to pass this message across to these people, and I'm going to break down the message for you.
Yes.
There and there, that you can understand it, so you can best know how to transmit that message.
And I also feel like people should use some of these religious leaders because Africans are most Africans are fanatics. So anything that comes from their religious leader, they follow. So maybe if the media could also, or maybe climate institutions could also partner with these religious or faith-based organizations, it will go a long way to bring change. And I also feel like most of the times when some of these things are dictated, people don't know how to communicate it, including the media. A few years ago, Bankolo and other neighborhoods in Yaoundé were like identified as weak zones. But you know, people still keep constructing in that area. One of my cousins is actually constructing, and they where she's constructing is actually up on
I
the
know the
rock.
funniest thing, if something has to happen to her or any other person to know, it's witchcrafted.
Yes.
There's nothing like climate change and it's
The only thing
pure
is that
witchcraft.
has predicted that nobody should construct that
Yes.
because whenever it rains, the soil there is too low.
Yes.
So the water and
It can easily cut
Yes.
and collapse off.
And it collapses every day,
Yes.
like almost every day when you pass through Bankolo, especially in one area called Petit Village. But people are like, people busy buying. I had to buy a plot of land there with 100,000. You can buy a road.
How will it not be cheap? How will it
Yeah,
not be
it's
cheap?
very
Because the
affordable.
landlords know. The landlords know and they never
it's
explain
not
to
like
their
social media.
Yes, they know.
They are aware.
They are looking for
And
money.
those that don't have funds now, who go and gather the money to go and buy the land will be
Sometimes you can even pass the information and people are just being stubborn.
Yes,
And
exactly.
generally just being stubborn. They don't want. They don't want.
Because
But you have, at least we have spoken. Pass the information first, let them be stubborn, so you know that you
Clear your mind.
this just transition will take years. It will
Yes,
take-
it's
it's
going
going
to
to
take
take
years.
years because if you even
Every
see
time
our
they make gens
town
I'm
planning,
not sure.
the Cameroon
I'm not sure.
agents,
I'm not sure.
Watch my
it will
I'm
take
not sure.
time. Like when you even check the town planning, it's horrible.
Look at your women.
Yaoundé is becoming something else. But when you go to some of these new layouts like Simbok and the rest, they have beautiful houses there.
I've
But
noticed.
it is not environmentally friendly because sometimes you see like there's no space between one building from another. So how?
Yes.
So how do they expect to live in such a building when fresh air is not coming in and stuff like that? I also feel like this. it's going to cause health issue in future. It's going to also cause a lot of pollution because if you're cooking and maybe the window does not have access to like free space, it's going to cause all those things. And countries like Ghana now, they're undergoing a lot of maybe air pollution because of because of over exploitation of gold, like mining, illegal mining. They call it galamsey. So when I was there, we used to go for like 3 to 4 weeks without water.
3 to 4 weeks.
Yes, because of illegal mining. So people are just digging, destroying some of those pipes and stuff like that. And the air pollution too is horrible because of open burning, mismanagement of waste and stuff like that. Yeah, and they have like their waste is being managed by the council, but the council work with local waste pickers. But some of those waste pickers are not well educated. They are not even educated because most educated people know what to do it. But that's actually a very decent job if you know how to sort the waste, use maybe the organic waste for manure and sell and stuff like that. You can even use it for your urban gardening and cultivate your crops and sell. But some of them are not even aware that some of the things they do is actually going to affect their health and even the community in future.
Most especially their children and the elderly.
Yes, because the next generation is really going to suffer because of our actions if we are not intentional about maybe looking for sustainable solutions. Because if you even see most of the solutions that people are proposing are not sustainable. I've seen some climate solutions that are not sustainable. For example, you see people constructing with these bricks that are made from not from mud, from
Is it that the
clay, yeah, from that cow.
Yes.
So
it's hay.
Yeah.
Clay with the hay and they form bricks.
But I heard it was not going to be it's not going to be sustainable.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
So most of the solutions we are even proposing are not sustainable. But if we try to maybe empower some of these waste pickers or those in the local communities that understand the reality, that are living the reality, it can also help a lot. I hope I answered your questions.
Of course, you have brought in a lot of clarity. And then I would like to ask again that what are some effective strategies, like some effective strategies for engaging the audiences and then promoting the climate action?
Okay.
How can we engage them into this thing?
Sure. In order to effectively engage maybe different stakeholders, ranging from different organizations, manufacturing organizations to local community, I think we have to look for what works for different group of people. For example, those in the local community without network or internet, what can actually work with them or for them is this community engagement, where you go to them, have a talk with them, get to know what they are going through, what their needs are, what maybe the different challenges they are facing, and how they can effectively get involved in climate action. And those in the urban cities like Yaoundé, Douala, and the rest, we know everybody now spend more time on social media than traditional media.
Yes.
I'll tell you that most people haven't watched maybe the TV or listened to the radio for months, but they are always on their phones. Like, so if maybe climate institutions maybe can consistently organize online campaigns, or even just organize some of these Facebook Live, Instagram Live, bring in an expert, sometimes even partner with some of these content creators, maybe guide them on what to say, because people believe in them a lot. Some of these amateurs, these unprofessional influencers, bring them in, use them, tell them to maybe focus on things that can actually bring change. They can as well report or maybe publish things on showbiz and the rest, but just make them to also be useful and resourceful by getting involved in climate action. And then also there should also be a partnership between media houses and climate institutions to get like the raw knowledge, the data, the science, and everything they need to effectively communicate and get people involved. There should also be programs, live programs on radio and TV. They are traditional media, but they are still very essential, because there are some places where people don't really have enough data. Like, they have internet, but data is quite expensive. Data is expensive in Cameroon. Because like in Senegal, Ghana, some of these West African countries that I've gone to, with 1K, you can have like 3G. But in Cameroon, 1K is 2G.
Yes.
You see,
It does not really last for a
it
month.
does not really last for a month.
So 1K is 2G. So it's 1,150.
Yeah.
1,150. That's 2G. Like,
It's 2G.
which you
Like,
use for 2
2
weeks.
weeks.
2 weeks.
That finishes in 2
2 weeks.
days.
If you are using all the platforms, you won't even go
It
to
depends on
maybe
the phone
1
you
day.
use.
Yeah, the phone as well. Like
It depends on the
iPhone.
phone.
I
iPhone
mean, no,
drinks a lot.
people, most Africans are like addicted to iPhones.
Yes,
So
that is a lot
iPhones
for
consume a lot.
Prestigious.
So people want to maybe still follow the news. But if they are calling programs where people can call and give their opinions about stocks, I think it can actually also help them get engaged. If they
Yes, it's true. Because you know, there was a time there was this radio station that always give opportunity people could call and yes, I don't know what it was about, but it made a lot of
it's
sense.
always about politics, sometimes
Yeah.
juvenile
Yes,
delinquency
people
and
call
stuff.
and
Yeah.
give
Not
them
as if
follow.
when you enter taxis, you still hear some taxis.
Yeah, yes.
Maybe if
Calling.
if you involve climate
Climate
change,
change
it's going
topics.
to
Yeah.
bring in more awareness.
If some of these digital campaigns are like consistent, I think maybe those traditional medias will try to like create a climate desk where they are going to like also develop programs that are going to focus just on climate issues, and people will be able to like call in,
Yes.
contribute, or even
Yes.
criticize the government
Yes.
and some of the advocates. Because some of the advocates sometimes I feel like they're always carried away. I feel like some of the advocates are always carried away. We just chanting, we want climate justice, when do you want it now? What next? No, we want climate justice because of this. We want this. Yes, we've been saying this for this period of time, and now we want action. We want this. We want policymakers to get in. We want the government to collaborate with this and that. Because I feel like we have a lot of evidence, maybe locally led solutions or resources that we can actually solve our own problems, but we don't even know how to leverage on it to create solutions, sustainable solutions. For example, in Cameroon in particular, we have a lot of forests. We have a lot of reserve. We have these lakes. We have beautiful sites that we can actually leverage on to create like ecotourism, bring people from different countries, organize these exchange programs. In countries like Kenya, Ghana, and the rest, they make a lot of money from UK, US, Canada, where students come to some of these type of organizations for exchange programs. They come, give their own ideas, learn from here, gather raw knowledge from here, take back, and they pay these organizations. Or they can as well come and then you link them to media houses where they go there and educate people daily on some of the ills of climate, of not respecting climate change. Because I also feel like if we really want people to get engaged, you should tell people what they have to do.
Yes.
And then you should not assume that they know, because they don't really know. And secondly, we should not only focus on disseminating the impacts of climate change. There's no impact without the cause.
Yeah.
We should tell them the cause, then show them the impact, then tell them what they need to do in order to get a solution. Not just a solution, but sustainable solution, because we are focusing on the sustainable development goals as a development strategy, but then most people don't even respect some of those strategies. Like we have 17 sustainable development goals, but most people are not even aware of it. That's why you see whenever they're developing programs or projects, they don't even take that into consideration. That's why you see like a workshop and there'll be 50 participants, but 5 women, 45 men, no person living with disability, no indigenous person, no translator, nobody to like do the Braille language stuff. And at the end of the day, you see the beautiful reports that they will write and share with some of the funders, and you are like,
yes, so you'll be shocked.
but the message haven't really gotten to those who really need it. Yeah. So,
Okay, yeah, that's very brilliant. And
welcome.
concerning those people, it's really not easy out there.
Yeah.
Like most times, we here in the urban area, we just assume and we don't really try to put ourselves in their shoes and be like, if I was there, how would I feel? How am I going to react?
So,
But then I also think that in as much as maybe they might not be aware, can't they as well reason
No,
or think that okay,
like that.
let me do like this.
It's because you know either you start thinking to yourself that what
It's
is out.
true.
Yeah.
Because right,
You're right.
how long ago did you know that you when you use your water in your house, you don't necessarily have to throw the water away. You can use it to flush the toilet, or use it to dry clean your house, or use it to sweep the front compound. You didn't know that, right?
Yeah.
In your mind, you just thought that okay, it's soapy water.
Yeah.
Maybe I just have to throw it away. It's when you go into this space that someone told you that you started thinking out that okay, that's actually true. Eh? And then you see some people, they have their cars. Sometimes they really think to themselves that okay, maybe I can actually take a bus today instead of using my car. Because
Yeah.
maybe his car is a luxury, but he's not aware that he's actually adding more pollution by
Environmental
using his personal
footprint.
car every single day. Meanwhile, once in a while, he can either use a bike, and then there's another thing too. In Africa, I don't know why we don't like copying good examples.
Yeah.
We always like copying with the bad
But-
ones. I saw in Rwanda they have eco bicycles.
Yes.
So these eco bicycles, the rider, he has a seat at the back of it. He carries even the fattest women,
Yes.
mid and size,
Yeah.
and he's struggling and doing like this and paddling and paddling.
Yeah.
And she gets to her destination and she's happy.
Yeah.
Like educated the population to know that this doesn't mean that you're poor.
Wow.
This means that you're concerned about the environment.
Environment.
When you take this option, it means you care.
Yeah.
You care about the environment, you care about the people that live in this,
Yeah.
on this earth.
Just passing through the streets of Rwanda, you'll be like, is this Africa?
You're very surprised
Yeah.
as in Africa.
So if I think that the whole of Africa needs to copy the good examples, but I think maybe Rwanda came with that idea, right?
Yeah.
When we see things like that, we need to copy such examples. That's how we grow. That's how we educate ourselves. And you see, even the president comes out to do cleaning campaigns with them. He's also there unplugging the grass, cleaning. These are the kind of examples that we'll have to copy in our own country. Yes, we talk to our mates, we talk to our friends. Have you ever been walking with your friend in the road, she eats her granola, she throws the pizza in the
Yes.
I feel very irritated.
Yeah, I do
feel so
so.
angry.
I go to my current organization and I told them that where I come from, we don't use plastic bottles. So I told them that everybody comes with like a drinking jar and you don't get into the gate, just the gate with the plastic paper. So even if you are going to buy your food or anything, make sure you get a reusable bag.
Yes.
Don't bring in a plastic bottle and stuff like that. We even had like someone that was in charge of making sure nobody comes in with it. And most of the times when I say things like that, people feel challenged. They'll be like, don't come here with that your thing, don't try to impose and
She
stuff
tries to
like
claim
that.
that
You're
she
trying to
has-
claim that child into this.
Yes.
We are so naturally. I was speaking with my boss, he's an American. I told him that he was like, he feels like Cameroonians don't like him. I said, no. You have to understand our culture. Cameroonians are naturally very proud. So a Cameroonian will not try to understand that in a professional space, everybody is equal.
Yes.
They will always want you to treat them differently because they are either married or they are old or they are pregnant.
Yes.
Or meanwhile, those things are not
matter.
necessary. They don't really matter. But I also feel like our media is not doing a good job because there's this thing we call in media agenda setting, where the media acts as the watchdog, like they're very intentional about what they put out there. So if all the media work in synergy, like decide to set an agenda for 1 month, just reporting on climate, when people keep hearing about it, everybody will want to be curious. It will ring a bell. But that is like one of the least topic on the media right now. Now everybody is just interested in either talking about the crisis or talking about the elections and ignoring the fact that without a safe environment, people won't even be able to get into politics. They won't be healthy enough to even fight. They won't even have access to maybe potable water and other stuff to really live healthy and stuff like that. So I feel like the media should also set an agenda that will favor climate action, that will actually spotlight it and make people to pick interest in it. Because people actually get involved when they understand something. So the science of this climate issue, of this climate action, needs to be break down, simplified, to maybe resonate with people. Yeah.
It's funny how we dirty our houses and then we later on blame the government. For not coming to
Exactly.
fix for us.
It's like
really
everything we are just focused on. The government is not doing it. What are you doing as a person?
You throw your dirt behind
Behind your
your house,
house.
and you expect the government to come and clean it for you, or you blame the government say the country is very dirty. When you throw that dirt,
There's this
One change, we have to be change first.
There's another thing that we all are actually maybe doing. Like we all are guilty of textile waste. Like textile waste, especially when you're a little bit popular, all these celebrities, influencers, they don't wear dresses twice. They want to impress. And that is actually waste.
That's waste.
Like even these second-handed dresses, there have been laws in different countries where they have like stopped the importation of second-handed dresses, but I don't think we have it in Cameroon. So they keep on importing it. People keep buying, and sometimes you see people buying a T-shirt that they cannot even wear twice, just because they want to impress and show that they have a new dress on, and the next thing they throw it away. And it takes time to even.
Nobody cares you wore the same dress.
Nobody. Like I used to think like that when I was a journalist. I'm really glad that I had to just divert and go into the development space, because journalism, celebrities, all those public figures. There's a lot. It comes with a lot of pressure. You just want to show off. But you don't even know that you're killing the environment. You're like causing a lot of pollution, bringing a lot of waste and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
So if you're a public person, if you have this, if you're in a space, a public space, if you're working for an organization like yours, just try to live an exemplary life. Be the change you want to see. Educate people around you. Create programs like this where people can come and talk, learn. Because just today I've learned a lot from you guys, and I feel like we should continue like that, because we are the future and we are the present.
Thank you very much, Minette. I've learned a lot. We have shared knowledge, and if we could still continue, we are not going to leave this place.
Not at all.
We are not going to leave this place. But thank you all for joining us today, and we have come to the end of this episode. And what we are going back home with today is first to know that climate change is a reality, and we have to act now. Communication is very, very, very necessary. Not only communicating, but understanding what you are spreading, understanding what you are communicating to others out there. Thank you very much again for joining us today. And I'll say thank you to my co-host Mary, thank you to my colleague Praise, and see you next time for another very, very insightful conversation. Bye.
Bye.